the message he drives home is if you stay consistent, you stay on the bike, you will get better. What's going on, y'all? It's John, your favorite slow cyclist, trying to become a Cat 1. Y'all know the story, why I'm here, but today I want to talk a little bit about, a few things I've noticed since getting a professional coach. Before I start, I do want to give a shout out to Teddy, my man out in Texas. He really put a lot into me when I got out there and recognized that I was about that life as far as training and hard work and putting in the work to get better. Not a lot of people want to wake up and put themselves through pain in cycling to get better, but I'm one of those people, and I think he appreciated that, and he really took me to a really good foundation in the initial parts of my training. Did a lot of base season together, did a lot of long miles, did my first century with the guys out in Texas, so I really appreciate you all. But I do, like I said today, want to talk about a few things that I've seen or learned from my new coach, who's on a Conti team, currently riding in Greece right now. So the first thing that I've noticed from training with a professional cyclist is, I'll be honest with you, it's not rocket science. I was thinking that a lot of this training was going to be the super high tech, like super calculated training, but frankly, it was actually the complete opposite. When we met, he literally sat down and asked me what my goals were, short term, medium, and long. And, he said he's here to serve me. And I really like that a lot. I was listening to the Evoke podcast and found Liam because he had an episode. And I was like, I want that guy to be my coach. So I immediately hit him up on Instagram. And we ended up talking on the way home back from Texas, moving back to Virginia. And he was genuine, down to earth, things of that nature. And once we got started, as soon as I got back from Texas, moved back to Virginia, it was a lot of more so picking up where I left off, but really finding my weak spots. That's the second thing I've noticed is he did an analysis just by asking me questions on, hey, where do you want to improve? Again, like I said a second ago, what are your goals? Where do you want to end up? What kind of rider do you want to be? And he started the training from there. From out the gate, I'm not ashamed to say this, but my FTP is like 215. Started riding in June of 2024. So it hasn't been a year yet. It will be in 3 months, but FTP currently is 215. And I told him that a lot of the times in different races, I would bonk out, I would crash out, not literally crash, but just, get dropped, things of that nature. And I said, dude, I want to be a really strong rider, etc. So a lot of the training that we started from the get-go was stuff that I really sucked at. Which again, back to the first point, is not rocket science. So he honed in on VO2 max, durability, sprinting, tempo, a lot of durability, like just getting my legs used to the pain of threshold, the pain of tempo, the pain of sprinting, then going back into threshold or back into tempo, just getting my legs and my cardiovascular used to that pain. And he said a really cool point. He was like, in order to make people suffer in a race, you have to suffer. And I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. So now every time I see a training on Training Peaks and it's like, oh, this is gonna hurt, I remember that if I don't be scared of the workout and do it to the best of my ability, even though it's going to be associated with a lot of pain. Not that I want to hurt people in a race, but yeah, I mean, I want to win. So being able to last longer, go harder, is the name of the game. And if I don't give 100% into my weaknesses, then I won't be able to give 100% into the race and me executing the plan, winning, or placing well, whatever it may be in that specific race. So we focused a lot on my weaknesses. Like, even to this day, we're still doing stuff that I suck at. You know, to name a few workouts. Let me just pull up my phone really quick. To name a few, just race simulations, sensation in my legs, you know, a lot of tempo, a lot of zone 6, attacking out of the saddle. Another one, riding in the wind, was huge. Like, that one was big, and I've always been kind of nervous about riding in the wind because you're literally getting tossed around on the bike. But he was like, you want to learn how to ride in the wind, because if you can attack in a crosswind and be confident and be efficient, you will make other people hurt, because they have to match your power going up that hill or going into that crosswind, you know. So that was another thing. So the second thing I would say that I've noticed working with a professional coach is he really focuses on my weaknesses, which I love, because from literally February 19th, when I drove back from Texas back to Virginia, until now, my fitness level, I told him I don't even want to test for, I do not want to test for FTP. I want to squeeze the lemon as much as I can before I recalculate my zones, because I don't want to leave anything on the table. I don't want to leave any work, any TSS on the table at all. And he was like, all right, bet, let's do it. So focusing a lot on weaknesses is the second thing that I've noticed that has literally gotten me a lot better since February 19th when I moved back up until now. I'm able to last longer. Like, this is big for me, but I did a group ride on the 15th, and I'm setting, like, you know, new PRs in my hour-long power, you know, things of that nature. Like, the records I'm setting are getting close to my threshold, and I can feel myself getting stronger just by focusing on the weaknesses. And the third thing that I've noticed is simplicity in taking care of your health. One of the things that really lured me into wanting him to be my coach is he was very adamant about, like, washing his hands. This might be really granular, but I'm really methodical when it comes to that kind of stuff. And he mentioned in the podcast taking vitamins, which probably all professional cyclists are doing. But from an amateur perspective, wanting to become a Cat 1, hearing that really resonated with me, because I want to be that much more in tune with my health, because I know it impacts my performance 100%. So, you know, magnesium, glycinate, you know, your vitamin C, staying healthy, electrolytes, staying hydrated. Like, when I was in Texas, you know the rule of thumb for an hour long, you want to make sure you get, you know, 45 to 60 70 grams, 30 to 60 grams in an hour long ride. And if it goes past 3 hours, you want to do 60 to 90, stuff like that. But that's really all I was doing. I wasn't eating great. I wasn't taking vitamins out there. I didn't have a good sleep schedule. So a lot of stuff that was holding me back versus it kind of being the elephant being addressed in the room and being like, oh, okay, like if you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. And that I really like that a lot about having a professional coach, because it's that much more methodical to the science of it. Versus just as everybody thinks when they first get into cycling. Oh, if I just go fast, I'll get fast. It's actually the complete opposite. And I had to learn that the hard way. Granted, now I am doing a lot of fast work, a lot of sprint work, because, like I said in the second point, those are my weaknesses. But staying steady and staying boring is kind of the name of the game when it comes to progressing if you're just getting into cycling. So the fourth thing that I would say is working with a professional coach is trusting the process. That might be cliche, but you only see your week's worth of training, your month's worth of training. I'm not on a professional team. I pray that I can get onto one in the near future. Like I said, my goal is to become a Cat 1. But trusting the process and, not comparing myself to Tadej Pogačar, who's been doing it all his life, not comparing myself to professionals. Maybe their work ethic, working hard and challenge myself as often as I can. I can match that, or not compare myself, but try to mimic that workload and that mental strength that they have, but not Strava stalking and comparing myself to other people's power and stuff like that, not getting down when I get dropped on a group ride. The message he drives home is, if you stay consistent, you stay on the bike, you will get better. Like, volume is such a huge component when it comes to cycling, which I've kind of gotten that pill swallowed pretty early working with Teddy, 15 hour, 16-hour weeks. And that is honestly not a lot for a professional cyclist who does it for a living. They're doing 25 to 30 hours a week, sometimes more. Granted, I have a full-time job, so I can't do that unless you guys get me to the point where I don't need to have a full-time job. That would be awesome. Get paid to ride a bike. That'd be really cool. But yeah, those are some of the things that I've noticed about working with a professional coach. I love it. I love the progression. I love just the feedback. I love the accountability. And I would say, if you're looking to get really good at cycling, obviously you work with Liam Flanagan, but do some research, find somebody that you vibe with. These guys are all humans, these girls are all humans, so they just have the experience to know what to do with certain trainings and things of that nature. But find somebody you vibe with, and I would say get a coach. Like, if you really want to get really good, like, get a coach or a friend that knows what they're doing, and ride with them and take their advice and things of that nature, because you never know where you'll get. And I'm doing this more so for documentation for myself, to see where I'm at in the future. I can look back at this catalog and see where I'm at, versus not documenting any of it all, because that would suck. That would be stupid of me to not do that. So I appreciate y'all watching. Subscribe, like, if you want to continue to be on this journey with me. Jump on the train now, so you can continue to see me progress, and race and win races, and doing it for my dad. So yeah. Also, if you do have a coach now, comment some things that you have learned or noticed about working with a professional coach. What are some good things? What are some bad things, etc.? I'm curious to hear. So that's my cat's over. Looking forward to showing you guys more of this journey. Thank you for staying along, and stay tuned for the next video. Talk to y'all soon.